Why, hello. I've been going through this Richard Werner, Tucker Carlson podcast because it seemed to pull a thread on a lot of people, and it is very good. And every little piece I consume, I feel like improves my overall understanding of what's happening and potentially what are the potential outcomes here moving forward. And then trying to, with my complete biases and awareness of the market and stuff, is start to assign probabilities and durations of how the direction of things and how long they can last and whatever. But learning more about credit creation through this podcast has been quite the eye-opener, and how the banks have a little shifty rule if you're a licensed bank to be able to, effectively take a deposit from a customer when they take a loan out, and then they just buy that back from them. So they don't have to actually shift accounts around for if we give somebody a loan, we have to, find that money somewhere to give to them. No, it's just created. And as long as we are able to constantly create credit over and over into the system, even though it's not necessarily productive because it's going into non-productive assets in many cases, that could cause, the inflation pressures that we see. But that doesn't necessarily mean everything has to crash until it does, right? When that credit train slows down and stops, starts to slow, evens out, and then turns lower. It's a reflexive loop to the downside too, given that banks aren't that full of money. They have 10% of all the money they should have as a reserve or whatever. So that's where you start to see credit stress, and the market's pricing that in, and bank failures and all that. So starting to put all this together and think about where we're at now, as we still are pumping in credit creation into this cycle, how much higher can we blow the Ponzi? And then what are the signs we need to look for when it comes to a halt? All fascinating stuff, all good things to think about. No clear answer, but for now, the music's still playing. But you gotta keep your ear to the ground, Good luck.